were governor for a season, I would stop all unnecessary spending, shut down all temporary programs. Everyone would have to be put through the ringer of what is the actual ROI of your program. I would not just find fraud, waste, and abuse. I would prosecute everyone all the way to the DAs that have not prosecuted this, even though they know damn well that it is going on. I mean, just to look at the homeless industrial complex in our state, it's actually rigged so that some of the money goes into this housing first. The builders of the housing put a lot of that money back into the coffers of the Democrats that run, and it feeds that machine on the left here in California. And when you actually walk the streets, like I actually took Chad Bianco out on a walk and showed him what's actually going on when you stand and talk to people, when you stand and talk to the workers, when you stand and talk to all the homeless people. We even stood and talked to the Crips when we were down there on the corner. And it's very clear that the money is not making it to the street. The money is making the problem bigger and not making the solution worthwhile. So that's what I would do if I was going to fix California. I'd dry up all the frivolous spending real quick. A lot of people would be real sad.
Well, yeah, and I'm sure a lot of people would, especially the criminals out there. And by the way, when I say criminals, I actually tell people that the people who work for government, whether they're elected or appointed, they're all criminals. And I mean that literally, because people in government are all trained to find ways to circumvent constitutional restrictions, whether it's state or federal constitution, it doesn't matter, because the Constitution is the supreme law of the land, federally, okay, and comparably in each state, which means that the people who work for government are trained to break the law, which means they're criminals. And it's one of the first things I teach people, because if you understand you're dealing with criminals, just showing them the law isn't good enough. You go up to a bank robber sometimes, hey, excuse me, did you know robbing banks is illegal and you can go to jail for a long time? There isn't a bank robber in the world that's going to say, oh, thank you so much, I'm going home now. So just showing the law to criminals in government doesn't get you what you want. We have to do more than that. We have to think outside the box. We have to be creative. We have to go beyond what we're told we're supposed to do. And that is where, that is where you and me and people like us, okay, are able to make our imprint, make our stand. All right, my final question for you, okay, at least my final planned question. Could you tell us about the vetcom.us website? Is this the best way for people to learn the work you do? Can users contact you through the website? Is this how they can support your efforts and support VetCom? And is this where people who are veterans, who have issues like my friend's friend, okay, is this also where they go to get help? Tell us about it.
Yes. Yeah, if you go to vetcom.us, many places on the site you can fill out a lead form and somebody will be answering you very quickly, especially Monday through Friday. They work 14 hours a day answering veterans. And on the weekend, we have kind of a skeleton crew that runs Saturday and Sunday, but you'll be getting an answer very quickly. Every single veteran gets a free strategy call with us. So whether you do anything with us or not, we're going to give you the strategy you need to move forward and give you an assessment of where you stand and how far you have left to go to your target. It's also, we have helped every single month about 100 people not commit suicide. Somehow they can't reach the suicide hotline and they can't get to any of these free services. They're not open. And so they reach out to us all hours of the day when they're about to pull the trigger, so to speak. And so we do a lot more than just help people get compensated. We make them be seen and heard and loved and cared about. And I think that is really important as an organization. But please do find us at vetcom.us. You can also call or text 858-360-2227, and somebody will text you back.
Can you give that number again, please?
858-360-2227.
Fantastic. And I at one point I was when I lived in California, at one point I was part of a suicide hotline, so I know exactly what goes into that on both sides of it and everything. And I really appreciate what you just said about that kind of help, because uh, people are at people are at their end of the end of their ropes in so many ways today. They have just had everything has just stressed them to the point of there's no reason for me to keep going at all. There's just no reason. And I appreciate you being there for people who are involved in that. Now, what about those who say, I think VetCom is the greatest thing since the paper napkin. I want to contribute. Is this where they go? To the website?
So if they wanted to go to VetCom and help sponsor their friends, by all means, if they put in a lead form with a note that says they're looking to help people, we have a lot of veterans pay it forward. A lot of them will get $5,000 to $50,000 in back pay, and they'll want to reach out and say, "Hey, I got 3 of my buddies. If I send them to you, can I sponsor them in?" And you absolutely can. We have companies that sponsor veterans, so if that's something that's in your heart to do to help somebody, we'd love to have your support.
Thank you so much, Kate Monroe. This has been one of my most pleasant, enjoyable interviews I've ever done. Thank you so much
Oh,
for being with
thank
us. I know
you.
you have to get out there, and okay, if and when I get to California and everything, I'm gonna call you up and see if I can meet with you just to say hi in person. Uh, I love what you're doing. It's been a pleasure, and um, if circumstances warrant, I'd love to have you back. Thank you so much.
I'd love to
You
be
take
back.
good care. God
You guys
bless,
have a great day.
and God bless you, and God bless the work that you are doing. Kate Monroe with vetcom.us. We'll be right back with hour number 2 of this Global Freedom Report.
More about freedom and your phone calls right after this.
AM 870, The Answer. Searching daily for common ground.
My friends, can I share something with you for a moment? I know how confusing come. Every time you turn on the radio, you hear another voice telling you to buy gold. Every host, every show, another endorsement. Like walking through a mall with 20 gold stores in a row, each one shouting, "Buy from me, buy from me." I'm not going to do that to you, El Dorados. Many years ago, when Dennis Prager helped me get started in radio, he told me something I've never forgotten. He said, credibility is all you have, protect it. So I'm going to tell you why I chose Allegiance Gold. I sat across from Alex Epkarian, the owner of Allegiance Gold. We talked about family. You can discern a man's character by the way he talks about the people he loves. Alex is a former banker, so he understands the U.S. dollar and why you should own gold. When you work with Allegiance Gold, you see exactly what they pay and exactly what you pay. No games, just transparency. I'm a client of Allegiance Gold, and if you value trust the way I do, you should consider them too. Call Alex Epkarian at Allegiance Gold, 844-790-9191, 844-790-9191.
How would you like to finally lose all those unwanted pounds quickly without spending thousands on painful injections or prescriptions? Hi, it's Donna Simpson, health and wellness expert. You probably know someone that is using Ozempic, the hottest diet craze in the country. Everyone knows about this prescription injection. Celebs use it to look their best. The problem is most of us can't afford Ozempic, and these injections can be so uncomfortable. Now you can lose the weight just as easily, but with no needles, no expensive prices, no side effects, and no worries. You need to try Lozempic, a new miracle weight loss breakthrough that performs so well it's been called nature's Ozempic. Lozempic is an easy-to-take diet pill now available without a prescription, being used by thousands to get rid of those unwanted pounds. So call now and find out how to get a free bottle.
To find out how to get your free bottle of Lozempic, call 800-680-9415, 800-680-9415. Free bottles are limited, so call 800-680-9415. That's 800-680-9415.
Portions of the following are pre-recorded.
AM 870, The Answer. Find us at am870theanswer.com. Download our apps, stream us 24/7, or watch us at snc.tv.
With SRN News, I'm Mary Rose. A Texas judge has ordered Camp Mystic to preserve damaged cabins and other parts of the grounds hit by last year's catastrophic flood.
That flood killed 25 girls and 2 counselors last 4th of July. The order followed a lawsuit by the family of 8-year-old Seal Stewart, whose body has still not been recovered. District Judge Maya Garrick Gamble ordered Camp Mystic to halt any construction after the family argued that any changes could destroy evidence needed for their lawsuit. Attorneys for Camp Mystic have maintained that there was little they could have done during the catastrophic flooding that quickly overcame the camp. John Scott reporting.
Iranian state TV says Madhaba Hamani, son of the country's late supreme leader, has been named his successor. He had long been considered a contender. This is SRN News.
Jen here with Henry Vogel with Presto Logistics. Henry, do you have a tip about moving?
Sure do. People tend to underestimate how long it takes to pack their belongings, so make sure to start early, label everything as best you can, and use heavy-duty packing supplies for added safety.
Sounds like you're committed to making moving street.
Sure are. We can even be your concierge for packing if you're not up for it. We can arrange estate sales. We also offer auto transport services. If you want to make your move a mini vacation, we'll keep your belongings safe in our climate-controlled warehouse. We've helped thousands move across town and across the country.
Folks, Presto Logistics is fully licensed, bonded, and insured with a 5-star Google rating, and their trained expert movers are fully background checked. Learn more at prestomoving.com. Then call them at 818-349-4000. 818-349-4000.
And I'll personally come out to your home and give you a free binding quote for your move and a 10% discount.
Presto Logistics, 818-349-4000, or visit prestomoving.com.
Bernie Madoff and his firm's Ponzi scheme robbed many good people of their hard-earned money and investments.
Unscrupulous financial advisors are still robbing their clients. If you've been a victim of an advisor that's cheated you or put your money in unsuitable investments, don't let them get away with it. I'm attorney Blake Kawabata.
And I'm attorney Adam Satnick at StopYourSteal.com.
We fight for our clients who've lost hard-earned dollars because of unscrupulous investment advisors.
We represent investors who were injured by fraud, unsuitable investments, breach of fiduciary duty, churning, and other financial wrongdoing. Sadly, it happens every day.
At StopYourSteal.com, we've returned millions of dollars back to our clients. If you believe you've been a victim of fraudulent investing practices, go to StopYourSteal.com. 888-358-4547. 888-358-4547.
Investment fraud attorneys Rosenberger, Kawabata, Satnick, and Lau. We hold bad brokers accountable.
StopYourSteal.com.
Rosenberger and Kawabata, 475 Washington Boulevard, Marina Del Rey, California, 90292.
Are you one of California's most influential CEOs? On June 1st, join AM 870's CEO Roundtable discussion with Donald Trump Jr. for exclusive discussions and insights shaping the future of business here in Southern California. It includes dinner, overnight stay at a 5-star hotel, and golf the next day. One table, 12 CEOs, and Donald Trump Jr. Reserve your seat. Call AM 870's General Manager Chris Jones at 714-567-6463. 714-567-6463. AM 870, The Answer. Tell your friends to tune in every day to hear the truth.
And welcome, welcome back to the Global Freedom Report, hour number 2. Excuse me. I'm your host, Brent Johnson. If you'd like to be part of the show, the toll-free number is 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. We are waiting right now for my next guest, and hopefully he will be with us. He doesn't have any technical problems going on. In the meantime, while we are waiting, okay, let me ask a question for the week, and that is, how do you feel about the United States government's relationship with Israel, with the state of Israel? Feel about the U.S. government's relationship with the state of Israel? 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And we will let you know as soon as our guest gets here. In the meantime, I want to remind you that if you have issues, you have anything at all that just gets you so upset, gets you so crazed of the injustice, of the inadequacy, of the way that the situation, whatever it may be, is going, to the point that you want to rant, you want to rave, you want to scream, you want to shout about it. The Global Freedom Report is making time available for you. You have a rant and a rave, you want to share it with our audience. If you want to do that, we will make time for you to get your rant or your rave out to the audience. You want to million people when you add, okay, the Sons of Liberty Network and the various other platforms in which we are live streaming. You can do that simply by contacting us.
AM 870, The Answer. Are you exhausted? We are too. Let's unite and come together.
The Jack Hibbs Show is where bold truth meets everyday life. Sunday at 7 a.m. Real issues, real answers, real life. Go to jackhibbs.com or tune in Sunday at 7 a.m.
Something you feel. Okay.
At AM 870 on your AM 870 smartphone app.
The advantage of modern technology.
And now on Amazon and Google Home speakers. Just ask for AM 870, The Answer.
Are you listening?
All right. We are back, and all I was saying there was that if you have something you want to do a rant and a rave on, all you have to do is contact us at 888-385.
Yeah, I got you. Thank you.
3733 888-385 free. Steve Hilton was born in London, the son of Hungarian immigrants who fled communism in search of freedom and opportunity. From a working class background, Steve made it to Oxford and then built a career at the highest levels of business and government. He served as a senior advisor to Prime Minister David Cameron before moving to California, where he taught at Stanford, built multiple businesses, hosted the Next Revolution on Fox News, and launched Golden Together, a movement for common sense reform. Steve is not a career politician. He is an outsider with the experience to take on the insiders, end the bloat, and fight for the people who make California work. Steve Hilton, it is my pleasure and honor to welcome you to the Global Freedom Report. How are you?
I'm great, and it's wonderful to be with you.
Oh, it's terrific. I thought we might have a technical problem in there at some point, and I'm so glad to see you here and to speak with you here. And let us start really simple. Okay, let me ask you, what are the greatest priorities for you during your first term as governor of California?
Well, really, the number one priority is to take an absolutely massive sledgehammer to the bloated nanny state bureaucracy in Sacramento that is crushing our freedom, that is making everything impossible in California, so difficult to live your life, run your business, whatever it is you want to do, and so expensive. All of it comes back to the bloated bureaucracy, the regulations, the endless legislation they pass. That's the priority. And then that feeds into all the specific things that I want to get done and the results I want to deliver for people. And it's all captured in one word, actually. I want to make our state Califordable. That's the theme of the tour of the state that we're doing, town halls up and down the state all the time. And you've got very simple things. I just want to run through them. $3 gas, cut your electric bills in half. Your first $100,000 tax-free. No more free healthcare for illegal immigrants, so we can lower healthcare costs for you and a home you can afford to buy. That's it. That's the plan. But underlying it, we got to really blow up this this ridiculous bureaucracy.
I love the word Californiable. Never even occurred to me, and I think about things like that, and that's delightful. Californiable. Okay, you're gonna make it Californiable. Super. Well, you already raised a few things that I want to touch on. Of every state in the union, California has the most legislatively committed spending requirements. Programs whose budgets cannot be cut. How do you address the out of control spending in California?
Well, you're right that that some of it is legislatively mandated, but a lot of it isn't. And you look at, for example, the costs that are the kind of what you might call stealth taxes, the costs that are being imposed through all these other things that aren't the legislature, that just bureaucracy running away with it. For example, a lot of the climate driven costs coming through the California Air Resources Board, CARB, that includes the gas taxes and the low carbon fuel standard and all these taxes on energy producers and users that force up electric rates and gas prices. That's not legislation. You can attack that through the bureaucracy. Then there's another whole category, which is all the fraud and corruption. I mean, I set up a couple of weeks ago CalDOGE, the California Department of Government Efficiency. We're not elected yet. This is just a volunteer effort with myself and my colleagues on what we're calling the golden ticket, the team I'm putting together to turn things around in California. Michael Gates running for Attorney General, in particular Herb Morgan running for State Controller, and Gloria Romero running with me for Lieutenant Governor. We launched CalDOGE together. Just in the last couple of weeks, we've found nearly $1.5 billion of fraud. Just us, just without any access to the official books, but just going through and diligently following leads that have come in through our website, califraud.com, the whistleblower tip line that we set up. So we're really getting ready to do the work of being there on day one in a position to identify and cut the fraud. And that's a big part of reducing the bloat and the spending so we can cut taxes.
I, I will put in a little plug for myself here. I'm actually a director of something called the Department of Government Accountability that has been created, okay, in the private sector, and I'm very actively involved with that. I would love to, if it is available to non-political people, I would love to be a part of your CalDOGE. I think I could bring a lot to it. And if there's an avenue available, I'd love to know how to get in touch or who to get in touch
Yes,
with.
absolutely. Let's follow up on that. It's open to all. That's my attitude. It's all hands on deck. We've got to save our beautiful state from these far left lunatics, and every common sense person can get involved in the movement. And we definitely need serious, thoughtful, experienced people to help us identify the places where we can cut. There's really two parts to CalDOGE's work, which I outlined when we set it up. Number one, I've touched on, which is identifying the fraud and the waste and the abuse of money. That's, if you like, the financial aspect of it, finding ways to cut the spending. But the other part of it is finding ways to reorganize the government and make it more efficient by shutting down and cutting back bureaucracies and these agencies, by finding places where they duplicate functions that could be better dealt with at the local level or at the county level. So there's so much to do there in terms of thinking about how we are just drowning in government in this broader sense in California. Just it's so much of it, the rules and regulations and the legislation and the different bodies, and you've got the state legislature.
Hello, what just happened? What? Oh, oh, oh no, oh no. Okay, we have to get him back. We have to get him back. Okay, yeah, I don't know what happened there. I heard the studio doing something, and I don't know what the studio might have. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I think so. I think so. All right. Well, we will get Steve Hilton back as quickly as possible. Um, again, the what what I was telling you while we're working on getting him back, what I was telling you about was that if you wanted to do a rant and rave, you can call and you can get on board and participate. Now, there's another thing that you can do, and that is that if you would like to become a member of the press, you can go out there and you can actually do man on the street or woman on the street interviews with people that we will put on the air. We'll edit them, okay, but then we not editing it for content, editing it so that so that it comes across the ums and the ahs and things like that, don't come across. But if you'd like to, think of yourself as an intern at this point. If you'd like to become a member of the press who actually with issues, like to call us at Freedom Bell at 888-385-3733, 888-385-FREE. And we have back Steve Hilton, candidate for governor of California. Steve, can you hear me okay?
I got you. I don't know what
Steve,
happened there.
can you
It
hear
seemed
me
to be
okay?
fine on my end, but I'm glad we're reunited.
Yeah, I don't know what happened either and everything, but I'm glad we are reunited. Now, considering you mentioned some things that strike me, considering that the state legislators in California are predominantly, and with all due respect, communist Democrats, how do you plan to work with them to change the face of politics in California?
Well, there's a number of stages to that answer. The first one is just to point out that when I'm elected governor and take office next year, that will be a political revolution in California. And I will expect the legislature, however it's comprised, to take note of that, especially if it's run by Democrats. After all these years of their lectures on our democracy, how much they care about our democracy, how much they hate anyone who tries to overturn elections, and so on. Well, the people will have spoken. The governor's race, easily the most high profile in California, much more high profile than any of their elections in the legislature for their districts. And so I will expect them to work with me to implement the agenda that I will have just been running on and that people just voted for. That would be my starting point. And I would be very surprised if there was a complete stonewall and that they refuse to engage at all. I would be very surprised. I think the dynamic will totally change in California once this momentous decision by the people to put a Republican back in charge has happened. Now, I don't expect them to want to get everything done that is on my agenda, but remember that the governor of California is it's very powerful position if you know how to use it, if you understand how government works, and if you understand how you can make things happen. Now, I have experience of that. I learned all the ways in which the bureaucrats and the machine try and stop you from doing what you want to do. I saw that firsthand in the UK government when I worked there, right at the right hand of the prime minister. And so I'm very prepared for all their tricks and blockage in the executive branch. And that's where you're going to have the really big influence, because so many of the things that really are driving everybody crazy in California is coming out of the executive branch, all these endless agencies and bureaucracies of state government. And by kicking out the climate fanatics and the far left ideologues and all these people that have stuffed up these agencies for the last 16 years of one party rule, and probably longer than that, and putting in their place common sense people who are going to unleash California energy, make it easier to run your business, bring costs down, all these sensible things, get water to our farmers, and so on. We can achieve that through the executive branch if you really know what you're doing and you're well prepared, which I will be, because already you'll see I've developed in detail the plans we need to make these changes. For the last 3 years, I've been traveling to California, listening to Californians, developing the solutions. You can read them at my policy website, goldentogether.com, or my book, Califalia. And so the plans are there. The people are there. As I mentioned earlier, we're already putting in place not just a statewide set of running mates. That's never happened before in any race for governor, where the governors actually run with running mates for these various and very important state positions. So we can work as a team to get things done. But also the appointments to the executive branch. I'm announcing appointments as we go along. By the time we get to November, there'll be a real, serious, credible government in waiting, ready to take office and make big changes from day one.
I love it. I absolutely love it. All right. I've got a tough question for you, and I'm going to bet nobody has asked this question before, and hopefully you're going to tackle it. Reports indicate that the vast majority of legislators, both federal and state, do not have proper oaths of office, and in some cases have no oaths of office on file. Without an oath of office, a legislator has no authority to sit in office. Will you investigate and address the oaths of office of each California assemblyman and senator and take appropriate action if you find those oaths lacking?
Interesting. I wasn't aware of that. You're right. I haven't been asked that question before. I'll take it away and take a look at it. I mean, I'd love to know from your point of view, what's the, what are the implications there? How should I be looking at this question?
Well, here's the thing. Okay, you are going to have to take an oath of office when you become governor. You're
Yes.
going to have to take an oath of office. Okay, I promise to this and that and all that. Okay, that oath has to be not only taken, but it has to be written, it has to be certified, and it has to be on file in the public venue. We have found that many, I'd even say the majority of people in public life do not have proper oaths of office. Some may have taken the oath and not filed it. Some may have not actually taken the oath. But the bottom line is, if they don't have oaths of office, they cannot. And it doesn't matter who it is, from the president on down. If they don't have oaths of office, they cannot sit in public life. And they cannot be bonded. Okay, nothing. It all falls apart. And I'd love to give you more and more on this. We can't do it on the air, but
Okay.
I think that this would be a tremendous step that you could take, that you could actually start looking into these people in Sacramento and find out who is and who is not properly oathed. Because if they're not properly oathed,
AM
they can't be sitting there doing what they're doing.
Division. Unite and come together.
What if your faith wasn't just something you believed, but something you lived? The Jack Hibbs Show is where bold truth meets everyday life. Sunday at 7 a.m. Real issues, real answers, real
Hello.
life. Go to jackhibbs.com or tune in Sunday at 7 a.m.
Yep. Yeah, I'm back. I'm back. Is Steve still with Steve? Are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm here. Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. What I was saying was I'd be happy to work with you to help you learn about the oaths of office. I think it's a major issue. I really do, especially in California.
Well, very interesting. Let's take a look at it. Thank you.
Absolutely, I'll be happy to do that. So, tell me about Steve Hilton forgovernor.com. And by the way, folks, for is FOR, not the number 4. Okay, Steve Hilton forgovernor.com. Is that the best way for people to learn about your candidacy and support your candidacy?
Yes, thank you. We're just about. It's actually a little bit out of date now because it was the website that we put together just before I launched the campaign, and obviously I've been making a lot of policy announcements and other announcements, including the team and the golden ticket and so on, since the beginning of the campaign. So it's just about to be updated, but still today you can go on to stevehiltonforgovernor.com and do the most important thing, which is to get involved in the campaign. Everybody listening and watching, you can all get involved, and there's something useful for everybody to do, whether that's sharing things on social media, talking to your neighbors, yard signs, merch. It's just a really, really important thing for people to understand that the way we're going to win this election is through a grassroots army. That's the real people's revolution that's going to make this happen. in California. You've got the massive Democrat machine with all their money, their corrupt money, the funding that they get from the government unions, basically taxpayer money. And so that's what we're up against. But we can do it because people power is stronger. But you've got to get involved. So I'd really appreciate anyone watching or listening. Do it tonight. Go to stevehiltonforgovernor.com.
Okay. A moment ago you said that it's an old website. Is there a different website that is more up to date, or should
No,
it
it's
be
just that it's going to be updated. It's the only website. There's only one. It's the right one. I'm just saying that it's soon going to be refreshed with the latest announcements that I've made on the campaign trail, including our team and so on. But the button that says "Get Involved," absolutely, that's where you need to go, and it works perfectly.
Now, I this has been good. I think this has given a lot of people at least an initial introduction to Steve Hilton for governor. And by the way, Steve Hilton is the front-running candidate on the Republican side at this point. That's the information that I'm getting
among everyone.
at this point.
I mean, I'm in all the polls, including all the Democrats.
Very good. Well, before we go, and we have to go to our bottom of the hour break. Before we do that, I want to ask you one quick, maybe personal question, and that is that what are your feelings? What are your thoughts about what's happening in the United Kingdom right now? The entire country seems to be falling apart.
Yes, I've never been so relieved and happy that not only have I become a US citizen, one of the proudest days of my life. People may have seen that moment when I took the oath. You're talking about an oath earlier. I took the oath of allegiance to the US, and that was all filmed, and we did that a few years ago. That was on my Fox News show when I became a citizen. But actually, since then, I've also renounced my UK citizenship, which I'm very happy to have done when you see what's going on in the UK. By the way, they're obviously short, apart from all the other problems, they're obviously short of money in the UK because they charge you on the way out. I had to pay £482 for my renunciation form.
Oh my.
But look at what's going on. It's absolutely unbelievable. You've got Sharia law spreading. You've got 30,000, whatever it is, the number of people arrested for saying things on social media that the government didn't like. You've got a totally stagnating economy under socialism. I mean, there's a very simple way I put it, which is, apart from all the other things I'm fighting for, that we've spoken about, some of them, making the state Cal affordable, also common sense on things like biological boys and girls sports and crime and homelessness, and all these things I'm fighting for. There's a really deep one, which is
Yeah, it definitely is. Steve Hilton,
fighting
thank you
to make sure that this state does
we're
not.
out of time. I am sorry about that. It's a heartbreak, but thank you so much for being with us. We will have you back, and I will be in touch. I definitely want to find the best way to be in touch.
Pure Trust Organization is the most powerful asset protection device available. Pure Trusts have been around in the USA since 1790, when Patriot Patrick Henry created the first one. Pure Trusts establish ironclad protection for real property, vehicles, businesses, and just about anything else. A Pure Trust creates a wall of privacy over its assets, reduces personal liability, and protects property from attachment. Freedom Bound International has been creating Pure Trusts for over 35 years, and none of their trusts have ever been successfully attacked. Call today at 888-385-FREE. That number again is 888-385-3733. Or visit their website at freedomradio.us for information and applications for their Pure Trusts. Freedom Bound International, dedicated to the preservation of personal freedom, privacy rights, and the principles enshrined in the Declaration of Independence.
The answer. Breaking news. The leader of a Los Angeles-based human smuggling network pleaded guilty in federal court. Known by the alias of Turco, he entered his pleas for conspiracy to bring aliens to the U.S. for financial gain and hostage-taking during a Friday court appearance. He managed a transnational criminal organization charging between $15,000 to $18,000 per person. Immigrants were held in stash houses. I'm Marino on The Answer with breaking news and talk you can trust.
My name is Whitney Allen, and I'm a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought we'd ever have to use life insurance, but the unexpected happened. With Ethos, signing up was fast and 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage. No medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage. I am grateful we were prepared.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/term. That's ethos.com/term. Paid spokesperson. Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
Did you know GoodRx can help you save on medication, manage prescriptions, and get trusted health information? If you're one of the millions living with a heart condition, check GoodRx for an easier, more affordable way to manage your health. GoodRx offers common heart medications for under $30. Just search for your prescription, find the best price, then show your pharmacist the GoodRx coupon. And it works whether you have insurance or not. To start saving and better manage your heart health, download the free app or visit GoodRx.com today. GoodRx is not insurance but can be used instead of insurance, including Medicare and other federal and state-funded programs.
I'm talking with investment fraud attorney Adam Sadnick from StopYourSteal.com. Adam, if a person sees their investments lose a lot of money, how can they know whether it's the market or if their advisor has made self-interested investments or even defrauded them?
Some investment advisors will promise great returns, but then when it comes time to pay you, they'll say they need more time. This excuse is a red flag. Unscrupulous advisors will keep people in the dark to disguise their self-serving or even illegal actions.
If you're losing money and don't know why, your broker could have sold you unsuitable investments or put their own commission interests ahead of yours. Go to StopYourSteal.com. StopYourSteal.com or 888-358-4547. 888-358-4547.
Investment fraud attorneys Rosenberger, Kawabata, Satnick, and Lau. We hold bad brokers accountable.
StopYourSteal.com. StopYourSteal.com. Rosenberger and Kawabata, 475 Washington Boulevard, Marina Del Rey, California, 90292.
Read the latest headlines on our website, am870theanswer.com.
Hi, this is Dave Von Kleist, and you're listening to the Global Freedom Report with Brent Johnson.
Which makes the world a better place for me.
Freedom Fever. I want you to get up now. I want all of you to get up out of your chairs. I want you to get up right now and go to the window, open it, and stick your head out and yell, I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Freedom Fever. Make it viral.
And welcome back to the Global Freedom Report. I'm your host, Brent Johnson. If you would like to be part of the show, the toll-free number is 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And our question for the week: how do you feel about the U.S. government's relationship with the State of Israel? How do you feel about the U.S. government's relationship with the State of Israel? 866-870-KRLA, 866-870-5752. And now it is time for this week's edition of Lessons in Liberty. There is a principle that dates back to medieval England called jury nullification. Jury nullification is the principle that says that when a jury is about to decide a case, the jury is able to gauge not only the facts and the evidence in the case, but the jury also is able to determine the legitimacy of the law. Jury nullification is the principle in which a jury can decide on whether a law is just and valid. It's what Thomas Jefferson called the last bastion of freedom. The jury's ability to weigh the value of the law itself and not just be a mindless receptacle for government. Now, let me tell you a little bit about the history of jury nullification. Jury nullification came to light after the Magna Charta, which, by the way, is the correct way to say it, the Magna Charta, not the Magna Carta, of 1215. And at that time, the nobility got together and basically took up arms against the king and said, if you don't sign on to this, we're going to take your life. And the king ultimately signed on to this, and that was the Magna Carta, Magna Charta, that laid the foundation of fundamental law that we all enjoy today. Well, in the, I believe it was the 15th century, there was an incident, there was a situation that came up involving William Penn, after whom Pennsylvania is named, and William Meade. And the two of them were teaching people about the principles of Quakerism. Now, you have to remember, back then, the only accepted religion was the Holy Roman Empire. Okay? And at that time, England, okay, had the proper religion, if you will. And Quakerism was not it. And William Penn and William Meade went about preaching the ideals of Quakerism. Well, that was not acceptable in 15th century or 16th century England. And so they ended up being arrested. And their crime was preaching Quakerism. Now, that wasn't the end of it, because there were juries that were there to render guilt or innocence. That's what juries were. But in this particular situation, the members of the jury on William Penn's trial were essentially told by the court that William Penn was guilty of violating the law that said that only Roman Catholicism was valid. Anybody preaching any other kind of religion was guilty. And so William Penn was guilty of this, and you, the jurors, have to find him guilty. That's what you have to do. Well, the jurors didn't like that. They wondered at that, and they said, he's not hurting anybody. He's simply, telling people about Quakerism. And William Meade was doing the same thing, and William Meade was accused of the same crime. So when it came time for the jurors to render their verdict, they came back to the court and they said, we don't see anything wrong with what William Penn and William Meade have done. We just cannot find him guilty. Well, believe it or not, the court didn't accept that. And they threw the jurors in a dungeon. And they said that when you come back with the right verdict, we'll let you out. Now, understand, this dungeon was a real dungeon. It had no food, no water, no sleeping arrangements, no toilet arrangements. It literally was a dungeon, and they were being starved, and they were not given anything to drink. They were being literally tortured. And what it did was the jurors got even more upset about it. They got more angry. And so after a while, the court brought the jurors out and asked them for a verdict. And the jurors said, he's not guilty. They're not guilty. And they wouldn't accept that. And they threw the jurors back in the dungeon. No food, no water, no toilet facilities. This went on for quite a while. But the word got out to the people. The word got out to the people. And when the people realized what was going on, they wouldn't have it. And the people revolted, and the people said, you will let these people out. You will not do this. These people have a right to vote their verdict on their conscience. And ultimately, the public pressure was so substantial that they had to let the jurors out. William and William Meade were indeed found not guilty. And the principle of jury nullification was born. The cornerstone of freedom in a republic is that a jury has the right
AM 870. Together. AM 870. The answer. Mistrust, division. It's not what we're moving towards.
What if your faith wasn't just something you believed, but something you lived? The Jack Hibbs Show is where bold real answers, real life. Go to jackhibbs.com or tune in Sunday at 7 a.m.
On the air in SoCal at AM 870 on your AM 870 smartphone.
The advantage of modern technology.
And now on Amazon and Google Home speakers. Just ask for AM 870. The answer.
Are you listening?
The 12th annual Unite IE Patriot Summit is coming